Hey everyone, welcome to UK Coin World's first video. We figured we'd start with the coins that shook the world, at least the UK world or the Commonwealth world or the Great Britain world in 1971, the UK's first decimalisation coins. And we have them here, the half new penny, the 1 new penny, and the 2 new pence. And of course these were part of a larger circulating collection from 1971, but let's start with the half new penny. Now, the half new penny looks pretty small, and it is. It's 1.78 grams. And it turns out that if you take the half new penny, 1.78 grams, and you double it, you get the weight of the 1 new penny, which is 3.56 grams. And then if you double that, you get the weight of the 2 new pence, which is 7.12 grams. So they've set this system up much like other coin systems in the world, where in the old days you could actually measure the weight of the coins to figure out what kind of coins you had. And when you do that, it makes it really interesting, because sometimes you go to a bank and they just weigh coins. They don't even count how many there are. Or when I went to England this year, they weighed the coins to confirm that they'd counted them right. So here's the half new penny. Came out in 1971. Now, of course, there was another half penny prior to that, and that was why it's called the new penny. And this is the half penny from 1970. And many of you may have never seen this one, certainly never seen it in circulation, because in 1970 this only came out in a mint set or a brilliant uncirculated set. So you couldn't get the 1970 halfpenny, but you can see that it's very similar. We have a different portrait of the Queen that came out in 1971, of course. This is the Arnold Machen portrait here, and this, of course, right here is the first portrait of Queen Elizabeth. First portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which came out in 1953, the Mary Gillick portrait. So here's the first portrait. In 1971, they moved to the second portrait, and they also really made the coins smaller. So this 1970 coin, the half penny in 1970 weighed 5.67 grams. In other words, about 3 times this. The half penny in 1970 was worth 1/240th, 1/480th of a pound, and in the half penny in 1971 was worth 1/100th. So 1/480th and 1/100th. So that's why they went to decimalization. In 1, to simplify. 2, they got to reduce the amount of coin cost for making the coins. And 3, because when you have the decimalization system, it makes it much easier for people, certainly in other countries, to figure it out and count it. So the half new penny came out, and you can see the design here with the crown over the 1/2. The 1 new penny came out in 1971, and you can see the crowned portcullis over the 1. And the 1 new penny, again, weighed 3.56 grams. Both of them are bronze. Both of them, of course, have the Arnold Machen second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. And then they also introduced a new coin that had never been out in Britain before, and that, of course, was the 2 new pence. And you can see as we kind of go along here, this is half the weight of this in half the value. This is half the weight of this in half the value. So we get to the 2 new pence, and we have a totally new coin that had never been seen before. There had been pennies before, there had been half pennies. The 2 new pence, and you see that it is says new pence at the top, 2 at the bottom, Ich dien, or I serve. And this is the Prince of Wales symbol, and it's 3 ostrich plumes through a crown with the Ich dien. If we flip it over, of course, we see the Arnold Machen. Now, this coin is an interesting size because it's smaller, as you can see, than the old 1 penny coin. So this is the old 1 penny coin, and it was just a huge monster of a coin. weighed, I believe, 9.52 grams and 9.45 grams, and it's just huge compared to the 2 new pence. And so, in other words, you can see how much they were saving by going, for this is 1 penny, now they use way less metal, about 70% of the metal for 2 pence. Now, when they put out the 2 new pence, they, of course, changed the back too, and so you don't have the Victoria seated anymore also. And when they started to set these up, of course, this coin here in 1970 only came out in the mint set. They hadn't made these for a few years. They hadn't made them for general circulation since 1967 when they made 655 million. So this, again, is in the brilliant uncirculated set version, and you can kind of tell by looking at it. Now, when they come out with all these new coins, of course, one of the things they have to do is to figure out how they switch out the old coins. So they had started a little earlier. In 1968, they came out with the 5 new pence and 10 new pence coins. And those coins were a precursor. Essentially, they're saying, we are going to change over, and the 5 new pence and, the 5 pence and 10 pence coins, which they hadn't been before, are going to be decimalization coins. And so when they worked out the equivalents, they were able to kind of work their way through and figure out how to change things over. And so they kept the threepence coins, the 3 pence coins, and they kept the 6 pence coins, but everything else went away in 1971. All right, that's all we have for our new first video from the UK Coin World's Coin channel.